Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. St. Elizabeth Southwest constituents respond to MP Green's fall from grace. Opinions varied, with ambivalence, regret, sympathy, and outrage being dominant themes as constituents of former Cabinet Minister Floyd Green responded in recent days to his fall from grace. Green, 39, resigned as Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries and apologized to Jamaicans after a widely circulated video on social media showed him at what was said to be a birthday party with friends and political associates in seemingly breach of COVID-19 related safety protocols on a no-movement day. Media reports suggest Green resigned after being instructed to do so by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. He has been temporarily replaced by Agriculture and Fisheries Minister by Audley Shaw, who is taking charge of that ministry for a second time. Shaw also holds the Industry Investments and Commerce portfolio. Green remains Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Southwestern, a traditional swing seat which he won convincingly in 2016 and again last year, September 2020. In an interview, supporters and members of the ruling JLP party in St. Elizabeth Southwest, opposition People's National Party PNP representatives, and others claiming no political allegiance were not prepared to go on the record, but most were robust in their views. As expected, JLP voices were sympathetic to Green, while some suggesting Holness was wrong to request the resignation of their MP, who they described as a high-quality minister. There were suggestions that Green's error of judgment may have attracted extra punishment because of the government's embarrassment over recent seemingly inconsistency, such as allowing cruise ship passengers to visit North Coast attractions on no-movement days, even as most Jamaicans were barred from leaving their homes. There were parallels drawn and questions asked about apparent breaching of social distancing protocols as party supporters crowded in the large number to see their heroes, not least of whom was Prime Minister Holness, during political motorcades in the build-up to last year's election. Floyd is just a scapegoat, one JLP supporter said. Treasure Beach hotelier Jason Hensel and David Folby, both of whom were closely with the Minister of Parliament but have not known political affiliation, regretted the loss of the cabinet of a man described by Folby as an exceptional human being. Even's Green political opponents found room for some sympathy, while they condemned what they saw as careless, inappropriate behavior. Opposition People's National Party PNP councillor for the Black River Division, Dwight Salmon, was discussed at the opulence on show as Green and friends toasted each other at the time. When poor people in this constituency can hardly buy flour, but he also felt that we all make mistakes, hopefully he will learn. Someone was disinclined to overkill. You should never kick a man when he is down, he said. Councillor of the Pedro Plain Division, Jeremy Palmer, took heart from what he said was the strong belief that such was Green's great promise as a representative of the people, that he will rise again. It is not an irredeemable situation. Palmer recalled that in the past, politicians had committed much greater folly only to come back and go to greater heights. According to Palmer, ordinary grassroots people have been deeply troubled by the situation, but were happy with Green's refreshing approach in apologizing for doing wrong and not seeking excuses. You know, Floyd is the kind of man who doesn't even get angry with those who verbally abuse him. He listens and he smiles. What has happened here is a setback, not a tragedy, said Palmer. Hence Hill Green has been a hard-working, highly respected, well-loved politician who was on his way of being a very effective minister, able to influence young people in particular. I think in my mind there is no question that this is an extremely unfortunate situation involving a very hard-working MP who has acted out of character, said Hensel. However, long-standing PNP organizer in St. Elizabeth Southwestern, David Satwell, appeared to suggest that rather than being out of character, Green's breach of COVID-19 protocols was the outgrowth of a behavioral trend that had become noticeable in the constituency. What has happened is unfortunate but not shocking, claimed David. He called for political representatives to recognize their responsibility in setting good examples for their followers. He noted that in the past, David, had played part in insisting that PNP political representatives in St. Elizabeth Southwestern should be held to account and to be of high behavioral standard. Southwest St. Elizabeth is one of those constituencies where members of parliament are expected to maintain a certain level. I am very concerned that all our elected representatives, regardless of party, should maintain a high standard of behavior, he said. Falby, an Englishman who owns and operates the Lashin Boutique Hotel and the villas in Treasure Beach, wondered if the punishment meted out to Green fitted the crime in the extraordinary circumstances brought on by COVID-19. He spoke freely of how Green had helped him to get supplies to hospitals and health centers in the fight against COVID-19 and his representational work seen at first hand. I call him anytime and he is always willing to help, said Falby, who claimed he had come across strong sympathy for Green for both JLP and PNP supporters in St. Elizabeth Southwest. This is a man who is real, a human being like the rest of us. Yes, the message, which is a video, was wrong. It was a bad message, but this is an exceptional human being who reaches out to everyone. Younger people relate to him, said Falby. We need politicians who care, and he, Green, cares, said Falby, even while conceding that there was probably no option in the current circumstances for Green but to drop from the cabinet, since politics is all about perception. You are damned if you do and damned if you don't. JLP activist, organizer and aspirant of the Pedro Plain Division, Seat Cadian Sr., and strong JLP supporter Fisherman Norman Parchment and former Junior Ebanks argued that Green should have remained in the cabinet because of what they said was his value as agriculture and fishery minister. They felt Green's apology and police investigation into possible wrongdoing should have been punishment enough. I think the Prime Minister's action was too abrupt. He, Green, shouldn't have been asked to resign. We all make mistakes, none of us perfect. He Holness is not a perfect man either, Ebanks said. Floyd is a hard-working MP and a minister trying to re-energize agriculture using up-to-date technology and trying to bring young people into agriculture. When there is a problem, he is not one of those ministers delegating people to represent him. He is out there walking the fields with us, Ebanks said. Parchment was similarly adamant. I don't think that he, Green, should have caused him to lose the job, cabinet minister. He apologized. He did not seek to pass the blame onto anyone. He took responsibility. The police are doing their investigations. That is how it should be done. Just like if it was any of the rest of us breaching protocols, he said. Senior 36, who proudly speaks of having been a JLP worker since childhood, worried that the loss of Green to agriculture portfolio is likely to adversely affect the farming sector. I think the penalty, Green being dropped from the cabinet, was much too harsh. The situation should have been handled differently. We all make mistakes, she said. She noted that the episode had caused considerable disquiet in St. Elizabeth Southwest. His, Green's work in Southwest can't be questioned. He has done a lot of work, she said. Turning upbeat, Sina insisted that all was not lost and Green would rebound, perhaps stronger than ever. Laughing mimically, famous quote from Chris's, which faced the opposition PNP while in government in the past, Sina dismissed Green's error as youthful exuberance and declared that he, Green, shall return. COVID-19 and children, adults urged to be more responsible. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to surge, a pediatrician is urging adults to consider the future of their children before disregarding the existing health protocols and exposing themselves and putting others at increased risk for COVID-19 infection. While children appear to be largely spared the direct blunt of the virus, the warning is that of potential long-term effects.
Based on research conducted globally, children who become infected with COVID-19 either have no symptoms or they have milder symptoms with relatively few admissions to hospitals and fewer deaths when compared to adults. However, children are being infected. Pediatrician Dr. Ludwig Morris says the increase in COVID-19 cases in children is a reflection of the general population's infection rate. He says though children appear to be better at warding off the disease than adults, he concedes that there are potential complications that may arise.
One of them that is noteworthy of mentioning is the multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children, or MISC for short. And that's pretty much where the body's immune system, the way how it responds to the COVID, it starts to cause inflammation of different areas of the body. And because of that, these children can become very ill, and that has to be recognized early and treated very quickly.
Dr. Morris says myocarditis is another unanticipated problem that may occur, which is the inflammation or swelling of the heart muscle.
The studies so far do not identify them as super spreaders, because even though the paper found that the children 0 to 3 were spreading more as compared to older children, children overall were not super spreaders.
He adds that pre-existing medical conditions are seen as a risk factor for severe illness and intensive care admission in children. The adults, he says, will have to be more responsible.
It's unreasonable for the future of children to be jeopardized and sabotaged because of persons some of whom have almost lived their entire lives already. Therefore mean that they have to take personal responsibility and get themselves protected.
Small amount of hesitancy towards second COVID-19 shot. Medical expert in the health ministry, Dr. Audrey McIntosh, says that the hesitancy among persons who are due for their second COVID-19 shot percentage is minimal.
There are concerns that there exists hesitancy by some people who have received their first dose of vaccine to take the second jab. On Tuesday, we spoke with Medical Officer of Health for Kingston and St. Andrew, Dr. Audrey McIntosh, who sought to point out that although that is concerning, it is a small number, as health officials have made available substantial information to persons who take the second shot.
We're having a lot of uptake for the second dose, and they understand that, some people will have side effects, some won't, and we have informed them with our talks that we give about the possible side effects and what to do about it.
She notes while the health ministry is working assiduously to reach herd immunity, reaching all communities across Jamaica has to be done on a timely manner.
It's just that we can't be in every community every day because of the constraints of staff. So, we have to do it according to the staff, and we have gotten requests from private sector that we have to be involved with also. So we just have to jiggle and do everything in a timely manner.
Dr. McIntosh adds that mental health support is provided for persons who are struggling regarding the pandemic. In the meantime, one parent sought to implore all parents to trust the health experts and the science surrounding the vaccines.
We've taken our children from as young as they were born to get vaccinated, and we never questioned it before. And I don't think that the doctors and the scientists would suddenly want to destroy an entire population. So trust the science, trust the doctors, and protect your children. They are your children. They are the future of our world.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.